Shalom, you homies. I'd like to speak about intelligence and life and diversity, and how the nature of life is to grow and go on, and how God uses diversity to make that happen, and how the problem is always the solution, and how everything that is an expression of God's loving intelligence. All life forms are unique expressions of God consciousness. Everything has some measure of consciousness. I don't know who said this, but I believe it's true that consciousness sleeps in rocks, stirs in plants, and awakens in man and in animals to different degrees. All of life is conscious. All of life is intelligent. All of life is a living word of God. Awareness, responding intelligently to God interacting with itself through myriad life forms, acting and responding to all of its parts in a way that allows it to give rise to emergent properties and life forms that allow life to go on and on and on. This is all an expression of intelligence, even what the limited minds of men label as problems. The problem is the solution, always. Usually what is going on when we're labeling as something a problem is that we have imposed our will upon God's creation. We have oppressed it in some way. And as a result of oppressing it, life has found a different route to take in order that it might go on. Right? We could say that this is an aberration. Yes, but it is also just the way that life finds itself a way back to homeostasis, to balance, so that it can continue. When you have a fever, that's unsettling, uncomfortable. It's also the body's way of detoxifying itself when it has encountered a virus. It's a problem that is the solution to your health, right? To life going on. More recently, we've seen an increase in the diagnosis of autism. That spectrum seems to be getting wider and wider and wider. Why is that? Because our system and our rules and our matrix is getting tighter and tighter and tighter and smaller and smaller and smaller and more oppressive. In any way that you might think that is outside of the lines that have been drawn around us in this prison that we have created for ourselves, that way of thinking is considered wrong. And now maybe we'll just label you autistic. I'm not saying autism isn't a thing and then it isn't harmful or like hurtful or problematic for people in their day-to-day life, that it's not a challenge, but it's a challenge that we are creating for ourselves by oppressing the loving, diverse expression of God's intelligence through his children, each of us unique. Pathologizing people's uniqueness leads to more pathologies, because life is going to continue to twist and turn and take whatever route it needs to go on. That's what disease is. That's what mental illness is. That's what depression and anxiety is. It's life speaking to itself, saying, the way you're behaving is not conducive to life going on. And we're going to find a way, even if that way is that we have to snuff out humans altogether. You see what we're doing? We're creating our own problems. We have become the problem. And the solution to that problem that is us just might be that life that God decides that this life form isn't conducive to life going on for all the other life forms. You know? So the answer is love, is surrender, is allowing, is humility, is understanding that we don't understand the unlimited mind of God because we don't have the ability, and we are meant to learn and to serve one another and all life, because ultimately it is one life, it is one love, it is all God consciousness. So let's be curious. Let's be appreciative and grateful for the beauty and diversity that surrounds us, expressed through our brothers and sisters as well. We can all learn from one another, you know, and we should. And hopefully we'll learn from the mistakes that we've made along the way, because that's just part of evolving and growing, you know. That's part of it all. So hopefully uh, we will find our way back to balance and harmony and homeostasis. And hopefully we will live to see what God has in mind for us.